$268,000. That's how much Chris and I spent on our surrogacy journey to expand our family. Out of the 4 embryos on my side, 3 of them were viable, but didn't have the strongest grades that you want for a transfer. Out of those 4, 1 of them came back blank, which essentially meant that it's either not viable or that the lab didn't take a large enough sample from the embryo to confirm the final status. So at that point, we at least knew that we had options. As the weeks passed before we started our journey to find a surrogate, Chris and I had the discussion of how we wanted to proceed forward when it came to gender. For us, because we're paying so much money out of pocket, more than $250,000 when it was all said and done, we were given more access and information because our doctors were way more involved with the scanning of every embryo, checking health, checking viability before an embryo transfer would take place. So when they do the screenings to find out which embryos are viable, they do a whole genetic screen testing to make sure these embryos have the strongest and highest chance of sticking and resulting in a successful transfer and hopefully lead to a successful pregnancy. Like I said, I had always loved and hoped for a girl, and Chris pictured having a boy. As you guys know, today we do. We have a boy and we have a girl. Chris is such an amazing human. He said, you know what, why don't we do this? You only have boy embryos and I have a mixture. How about we do a boy embryo from you and a girl embryo from me? So our next steps was to have the surrogacy agency locate us some options for a surrogate. This was back in 2020. We're really pushing for twins, and our IVF doctor is the best of the best, was known for a high success rate of twins. You know, there were higher risks with the transfer, with the pregnancy, all of that. But everyone, including our surrogate and us and our IVF doctor and our agency, were all in agreement and on board with moving forward with twins, which we were really blessed to have because I know these days a lot of doctors want to implant more than one embryo. Kind of give you a scope, it took us not 1, not 2, but 3 surrogates to get pregnant and to create our family. Our first surrogate was someone we connected with right away. She was a single mom, lived back in my hometown, and then unfortunately, through all the health screenings and everything like that, they found a very small hole in her heart that she was not aware of. After doing multiple tests and confirming that there was a hole indeed in her heart, our IVF doctor would not proceed forward with her. It was kind of a blessing in disguise for her and for us. Obviously, it was something that she didn't know about. Knowing that information moving forward, she took the steps to make sure that she took care of herself, monitored it, and to ensure that she remained healthy and safe for her and her family. If we would not have caught that, the embryo transfer did happen, it would have added severe complications for the babies and for her. All in all, it was the right choice, and we were so glad that we found out when we did, and we wished her nothing but the best. We took a little bit of time because that was kind of hard to process. We paid tens of thousands of dollars to do all these tests, to get her health screening, to get her psych evals. When we were ready to proceed again, our agency found us a second surrogate. We met with her over Zoom to kind of gauge a connection, and I kind of had my guard up because I immediately connected with our first surrogate, and then obviously losing her, I was sad, and I didn't really want that same result a second time should something happen. I was obviously still very nice and very kind to her and wasn't necessarily looking for like a best friend, if that makes sense. We chatted with her and all seemed great. Great health history. Her husband was on board. She was the mother of 2 kids. She lived further away, so that would have been a little tricky with like appointments and things, but we would have made it work. She got through her psych evaluation, got through her health screening, and everything was great. She had just started taking medication to get her body ready for the transfer, and unfortunately, we got an email from her. My heart dropped. Essentially, she said, I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, I can no longer proceed forward with this journey. I'm pregnant with my own child. As great of news as that was and how happy we were for her, we were broken because the next delivery that she was going to potentially have was going to be for us. Then we got to thinking, how could this have happened? She's been on medication. She's supposed to be very careful and to follow certain procedures. There's this window where they say, during this time, you're on new birth control, you're taking other medication to get your body ready for this transfer. Please follow these steps very, very carefully. It was definitely not the news that we were expecting to read. At that point, I felt almost like giving up with trying to have a family, because at this point we'd already been through 2 egg donors. This is now our second surrogate that we had lost. Part of me was thinking, is it the universe? Is it God trying to tell us like, hey, you're just not meant to be a dad. You're not meant to have a family of your own. And that kind of broke me. I was pretty depressed, really disappointed, not even just the failures, but also from the financial standpoint. Like I said, everything for us is out of pocket. With the contracts in place, if anything goes wrong, the surrogate is not liable. They're not at risk for anything. Not that I'm saying she did anything wrong or that it was her fault. All the money that we've already poured into was gone. And if and when we decided to move forward with a third try, we would have to pay for it all over again. That's also how the budget that was given to us originally ended up being, over $100,000 more because of the setbacks and things that we endured.